Hi, everyone, and welcome to this live reading session with myself. And we do already have one of you who you've basically sent in to book, so that's great. And Claudia, thank you so much. So I'm gonna type in your information, and just before I do that, for those joining, and maybe you do not know how this process works, but the instructions are in the description. So you basically go to the link and then you book a reading. It's a live reading. So basically, I present your chart. Don't worry, your information is all covered. So that stuff, don't worry about that. But basically, we read your chart and we do it live. We do it live. So, Claudia, let's have a look at your chart. Thank you very much for booking. Okay. And I do try my best to keep my eye on the chat. Uh-huh. Okay. Hello. Hi. Yes, Claudia, you're here. Great. Welcome. Hello to Lori. Hello to Mary. And also hello to Manelli. Thank you for joining. The instructions on how to book is below. So you go to the link and then of course you send through your birth information, right? I need time of birth, place of birth, date of birth, and any question you may have. You can enter all of that in to the PayPal description section when you're sending a payment. And then we present your chart here and we do it live. But I do just want to say that these are more sort of sneak peeks, so to speak, of readings. For more information, for longer readings, you can go to my website, hannahselsewhere.com, which, by the way, I do want to say I updated my services very recently. And if you have a look over on my website, hannahselsewhere.com, you'll be able to see those updated prices and services. Yeah. So I look forward to hearing from you. Okay. So, Claudia, let's see. Let's look at transits for you because you want to know about February. February. What is in store for you? See if. Yep. Okay. If I'm quiet, it's just because I'm trying to focus so I do everything correctly. A lot of buttons. Okay. Let's have a look at your chart here. And I always make the mistake of eating before I come on. So if my voice is not 100%, that's probably why. Okay. So let's have a look and see for you, Claudia. All right, so we have a few interesting major transits happening throughout February. One, especially for you, would be Venus entering your first house on the 4th of February. So Venus, of course, will move into Aries. And Venus in the first house transits can be great for relationships, great for especially partnerships, business. And also, you may find that you feel quite attractive, or there's maybe a greater sense of popularity, likability, things like that. Just this whole essence of feeling yourself, so to speak. You may even decide to make significant changes to your appearance or to your identity in some way, shape, or form. But I also kind of think of the first house as representing new beginnings in general. So there could be some new beginning, maybe with relation to finances, relationships, partnerships, things like that. However, I do just want to mention here, Claudia, that there will be the Venus retrograde, which will happen around about March, April time. And Venus will be in her pre-shadow period by the time that she enters into Aries there. So whatever comes up for you, so we think about possibly new beginnings, new goal settings, things like that, tied to your identity. Whatever comes up, remember that you will most likely revisit that stuff March, April time. And then more around, I would say, towards the end of April, coming into May, then that's when you're really going to start moving forward, right? Yeah, so there could be some interesting new experiences up ahead. But again, you will refine things and you will look over things. Okay, so what else? Excuse me. So I hope I'm not too close to the mic. It's just my stomach from eating. Okay. Let's also just think about quickly how Venus does rule your second house, so your money house. Venus also rules your partnership house. So this new beginning stuff, I do think it's somehow related to finances. It's somehow related to partnership. So there is that. Plus, let's consider how Jupiter will turn direct. Jupiter is going to turn direct on the 4th of February. And Jupiter has been retrograde in your third house. Now, Jupiter does, of course, rule your 9th and your 12th houses. So perhaps for the past number of months, you've been trying to reflect upon, okay, well, what is my message? What are my teachings? What do I value maybe? Or what are my principles? What are my morals? And what do I stand by, when it comes to my morals and my beliefs? Maybe also this has been a bit of a spiritual journey for you, especially with Saturn and Neptune also in your 12. But basically, come February, I think you'll have an opportunity to perhaps look back in retrospect and think, oh, wow, I've really grown. I've really changed. My opinions on things have changed. My views on things have changed because I was able to take that time to look over things. And yeah, I think it could even be where what starts to happen gradually is that you start to feel a bit more lighter, especially mentally. I'm going to suggest it's been tough, I think, on a very collective level for people with Saturn square Jupiter. Because as Jupiter's trying to expand, Saturn wants to contract. In a square aspect, it's like, it can feel like a battleground. So for you, this could be mentally, this could be emotionally, this could be when it comes to feeling supported by other people. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm finding it hard to think positive. That's what I'm sort of getting from this. But good news is Jupiter will turn direct, and more so, I would say, April, May time, as we start to approach June with Jupiter entering your 4th, I think that's when we're really going to see things feel a bit more lighter for you. And hey, you'll be able to look back and think, hey, you know what? I feel quite blessed when it comes to my communication. There could be some sort of learning skill, for example, that you've been looking over. And what else here? We also have on the 14th of February. So do keep in mind that for a good portion of February, it will be Aquarius season. So with Aquarius being in your 11th house and with transit Pluto there. It could be, of course, a time of transformation and renewal to do with friendships and relationships. But hey, it could also be what feels like a pretty tense, kind of explosive time to some degree, where maybe it feels a bit frustrating. And I'm saying this especially because Mars has been retrograde in Cancer, and we have been, I think maybe for you, you've been feeling this tension, so to speak, but hopefully, as we go further into February, things will lighten, hopefully. But still, I think we could see significant shifts and changes to do with groups and friendships and teams. Plus, with Mercury coming into your 12th house throughout February, do keep in mind that Mercury will conjunct Saturn throughout February for you. So I think major themes coming up to do with your health. Okay, this is what I'm getting from February for you, especially because Moon is in Virgo opposite. I would say February is going to be a pretty big month for you, health-wise, spirituality-wise, and maybe even thinking about being able to separate yourself or to step into a place of solitude when you need to. Okay, to be able to go behind the scenes and just to think things over. And hey, you know what? Because Mercury does rule your third and your sixth houses, yeah, this stuff could very well be about conversations you've had with people, siblings. It could be about some programs that you've been a part of, courses you're a part of, and work related things could also come up, co-worker relationships, things like that. Okay, and let's then. Okay, so the final sort of things I'm going to say for you for February here, Claudia, is one, by the 18th of February, it will be Pisces season. And I always think about Sun in the 12th house. So before the season, the next season. So for you, okay, Aries rising, Aries season, tied to Aries season. So the season before that for you would be Pisces. So with the Sun there, it is about trying to maybe prepare yourself or trying to center yourself slightly before Aries season. I think a big focus then for you would be able to wind down when you can. And this has already been ushered in, I think, by your chart ruler Mars being retrograde in Cancer in the 4th. Maybe things have felt a little bit tense for you, honestly, a bit frustrating, a bit like, why is this not working the way I want it to? Stagnation has been happening. But we are going to see movement, especially because Mars is going to turn direct on the 23rd of February. And so there could be some interesting developments up ahead, especially when we think about goals and intention setting, things like that. Because Aries does rule your first. And hey, this stuff could also be related to maybe there could be harsh power struggles you've been experiencing lately, but maybe with Mars turning direct, things will become a bit more clearer. Or it's that this stuff is tied in with shared accounts, shared resources, debts, loans, repayments, things like that. But like I said, Mars is going to turn direct on the 23rd of February. And so we could see a bit of a release of certain tensions, especially if it is that you've been feeling tension lately, especially with family members, I'm going to suggest, because Mars is retrograde in the 4th. Claudia, thank you so much. So, all right. So we have, I just need to get my pen and paper to take note of names to keep up. So, Rain. Let me see here. If Rain is there, I'm going to have a look. Thank you, Claudia. If Rain is there, please, because I need your birth information, and you can email me at hannahselsewhere@outlook.com, but I do need your date of birth, your time of birth, and your place of birth, Rain. So, because you sent through payment, which thank you very much, but I do need your information to do your reading. Okay. But I am gonna look at others a second just to double check you have all the information. If Rain, let me see. Hi. Yes, I hope you heard what I said, Rain. I hope you were able to hear what I said. But yes, you feel free, you can email me it. If you're not comfortable putting it in the chat, you can put it in the chat if you want as well. But I need time of birth, place of birth, and your date of birth. And then we also have Ashley. And for Ashley, or sorry, okay, Holly. Oh, my apologies, Holly. Okay, I'm just seeing, do I have all your information? Yes, have your information. No problem. And then we also have Shay. Hi, Shay. Welcome back. Yes, I have all your information there. No problem. Okay. Okay, you're going to send me it now. No problem. Oh, Shay, it's going to be your birthday tomorrow. Isn't that right? Yeah, your birthday's tomorrow. I hope you have the best birthday. Progressed. Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. And is 12:35, is that PM? For Ray, is it 12:35 PM? Rightio. Let's see. Oh, you were born on Valentine's Day. Oh. Okay, we also have Dylan who has booked in. Thank you, Dylan. I've got everything for you. Yes, got everything for you. Okay, perfect. Okay, so 12:35. Yes, PM. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Bum, bum, bum. And Sacramento. Yep. Okay, double check. Yes, perfect. And also, Rain, what is your question? Do you have a question? I could just do like a general reading. But yeah, do you have a question? Oh, okay. No problem, Lori. Okay. Image. And Rain, if you don't have a question, it's completely fine. I can just talk about your chart as is. Okay, let me see. General career finance. Okay. Career finance. So you want to figure a few things out. Well, let's try and use astrology as a tool, right? A tool. Okay. Let me have a look. Excuse me. All right, so we do see here that currently you are trying to re-strategize a little bit when it comes to your finances because Mars is retrograde in your second house. But the thing is that what I'm feeling, what I'm picking up on is that you're feeling a bit fed up. You're feeling a bit deflated, especially because Mars retrograde right now is opposing your natal Mars in Capricorn and also Venus, might I say. So when we think firstly about Mars in Capricorn, I mean, this to me suggests that when it comes to your goals, okay, when it comes to your willpower and your drive, you can be a very disciplined person, and you also have this kind of step by step approach where you can be very patient and resilient as well. I mean, I'm sure you have had to face many blockages or hurdles, obstacles along your path with relation to could be trying to pay off certain debts or loans. This stuff could also be maybe tied in with intimate relationships, maybe building trust with people. We think about intimacy and vulnerability to an extent with the eighth house. Maybe having to manage other people's resources under other people's money, okay? But you see, with Mars opposing your natal Mars, there is this struggle, right? Because this is an opposition. It's this tug of war, it's a push and pull. So, Mars right now being retrograde in Cancer is sort of indicating a time to review, it is a time to reflect. But hey, you know what? That probably doesn't pay the bills, really, when we think about it realistically. So, maybe you're sort of in a position right now, Rain, where you're sort of like, well, I have these accomplishments or these goals in mind. I have these intentions that I've set, and I just want to push forward with them. I just want to make them happen. And but it seems like I'm being pulled in this other direction where maybe it feels a bit like energetically things are off. Okay. Now, this is not to say that all is doom and gloom and that you're never going to get out of this. It could feel, I'm just going to say with feelings, when we really align with the feeling tone of this, it could feel like it's just doom and gloom. It could feel like you're in a hole and you're having to sort of dig yourself out of that hole. And you're thinking to yourself, when am I going to get out of it? So let's consider perhaps how, sorry, my screen. Let's perhaps consider how Mars will eventually turn direct on the 23rd of February. And I know that's not for a good while yet, but how can we be proactive now? Okay. How can we try to maybe look at this as a sort of practical guide, as a practical way of supporting you? And maybe a part of this is one, I'm going to say this: stop being so hard on yourself. This is what I'm getting from this. Stop punishing yourself, stop beating yourself up, stop going over and over the same thing, the same point, time and time again. And I think a part of this is you're just breaking your own heart by doing that, especially because your moon is already in Cancer. And whenever you feel like, oh, I'm not secure, because moon in Cancer in the second house says you value your security, especially because it's security, it's finances, it's your money that I think they have something to say about your emotions, your emotional needs, your emotional well-being. So because of this tension right now, because of this frustration right now, I think this moon in Cancer part of you is sort of crying out, or maybe a part of you even is, I'm going to say this, is looking to be babied. Maybe a part of it is like you are going back into old patterns, right? Because the South Node is also in Cancer and it's very close to the moon. So what I'm getting from this is just you wanting to maybe hide, you maybe wanting to be cared for or sort of mothered in a way, parented in a way, or wishing for someone to kind of just pick up the load, because let's face it, my goodness, what we're seeing from so much Capricorn, so much Aquarius here, just all of this Saturnian influence, especially with the 8th house involved, is very intense, is that you have had to be a responsible person of yourself. Okay. Very self-reliant, self-sufficient, things like that. So yes, that's what I'm going to say, is to, one, try and not be so hard on yourself, but also recognize when it comes to astrology that what is a truth when it comes to astrology and life itself is that everything changes, okay? Nothing ever stays the same. We are reminded from the cycles and the rhythms and the patterns of the planets and astrology, etc., is that things do turn, things do change. And so, what is your change? What could we see in terms of certain growth for you over the next while? Okay. I am going to say here that, okay, so coming into Aquarius season, let me just double check. Yes, you are an Aquarius, right? Your son's there, born on the 14th of February, which I hope you do have a lovely birthday, by the way, because it's nearly Aquarius season. But coming into Aquarius season, hopefully with the sun coming in, joining up with Pluto, Mercury also joining up with Pluto, and then as they travel through the 9th, we can look at this as you broadening your horizons. We could also look at this as like click, click, epiphanies, realizations. I don't know, I'd see that before. Whoa, And I think that could very well come about for you. It's more about, what I'm getting from this is it's a change in mindset. It's a change in perspective about your circumstances, about your situation. What I'm sort of getting here is that, like, you felt sort of trapped or cornered, or as if, like I was saying, in a hole. But we're going to notice that you are going to gradually, steadily rise up from that and embark perhaps on this new journey. And here's the thing. Jupiter will turn direct on the 4th of February. We'll go through your first house of Gemini. And let's face it, with having Gemini here on the rising, things feeling stagnant, things feeling confined and stuck is very frustrating, because Gemini says, no, I don't want to have to. Yeah, I don't want to have to focus on this thing for so long. I want to be able to change. I want to be able to switch things up when I want. It's going to turn. Okay. Jupiter is going to turn direct from the 4th of February. So thinking March time coming into June time, as Jupiter enters into your second, you are going to notice significant new chapters and opportunities to do with communication, to do with friendships and teams and communities, especially because Jupiter is going to connect in with all of that Aquarius in the 9th house. Yeah, there could be travel, there could be new possible career opportunities coming up for you, because Jupiter does rule your 10th house. Could also be partnership opportunities coming up for you, because Jupiter rules your 7th house. And then at the same time, Saturn is going to give you a little bit of a break, okay, in the 10th. Saturn in your 10th has maybe felt like an uphill battle a little bit, or sort of like, oh my gosh, I'm having to drag my feet, or anytime I try to make progress when it comes to my career, when it comes to the things I want to accomplish in my life, I get stepped back again. So maybe a part of Saturn in Pisces in your 10th has been teaching you a lot about trust. And here's the thing, the North Node is going to travel through your 10th as well over the next 18 months. And this is where we're going to see you flourish, fated sort of meetings, destiny calling, so to speak, when it comes to career opportunities, things that actually do feel like, oh my gosh, is this real? Believing in a miracle. And the thing about it too is Saturn will enter into your 11th house May time. Yes, from what I remember, May time for a couple of months. So what you're about to come up towards is a flavor, a glimpse of a new chapter. And that new chapter has to do with organizations, teams, groups, following your dreams, okay? Thinking about your future aims, especially regarding leadership, being a team player, being an initiator, being a doer. But I also can't help but feel as if this stuff will be tied in with the managing other people's finances. What I'm getting from this, perhaps for you, just lastly here, Rain, is we could see significantly new chapters, new doors open for you to do with status, career, your reputation. Could be very interesting indeed. Thank you so much, Rain. And okay, awesome. Okay, so now we are going to move on to Holly. And I want to stop for a second to say these readings are quick fire readings. If you want more information, basically, if you want more in-depth readings, if you want more time with me, you can go to my website, hannahselsewhere.com. I have recently updated my services. Hello to Nice Things. Hello from Belfast. I'm also in Belfast, so hi to you. And Pamela, hello to you, Pamela. Thank you very much. Okay, amazing. And Rain, awesome. Happy to hear it. I love getting your feedback in real time. Okay. Let's see. Holly. I'm just going to take a moment to focus. It's also going to be your birthday soon. All the Aquarians showing up. Woo woo. Sorry. Okay. And okay. All right, double checking. Nice. Ooh, another Gemini rising. You know what? I have been noticing a pattern over the past couple of sessions here with a lot of Gemini risings wanting to know about their chart. Maybe it has something to do with Jupiter right now, retrograde for Gemini. Could be that. Okay, let's see. Okay, so Holly, I want to know, do you have a question about your chart? If you have a question, or we could just do more of a sort of general reading. Then again, let me see, have you perhaps already messaged in the chat and I haven't seen it? I see it. I find it. Okay, so significant in transits coming up. Okay, no problem. Let's have a look. Transits. Okay, so what's going to happen in just a couple of days? So as Aquarius season begins, just before you experience your birthday is the sun is going to conjunct Pluto, ushering in a new 1-year cycle with relation to things like your deeply held beliefs, your worldviews, your philosophies. The thing about Pluto and its transit through your ninth house over the next, 20 years is one, Pluto is going to connect in with all of that Aquarius. And two, Pluto is going to, I think, completely revolutionize the ways in which you see the world, the ways in which you identify with yourself. I think this could be a case of your philosophical views changing completely. Could even be that your morals change. Something that perhaps you thought was morally correct or completely fine, it could completely change like that. It really is going to be a time of grand transformation for you, especially because, like I said, Pluto is going to pass over all of this Aquarius for you. And when we think about this archetype of Aquarius, I suppose to sort of narrow it down a little bit, Aquarius is the rebel, Aquarius is the outcast, but also Aquarius is the unifier and the one who wants to bring everybody together. But yet, you have a mind of your own. And so it could be that you take on more of a leadership role or you lead the way forward in some way, shape, or form. To do with your teachings, to do with maybe how you broadcast or publish or share information. Maybe a big part of this journey for you with Pluto through your ninth is going to be largely about social media or technology, or it could be about maybe helping your fellow man. It could be about humanity in many ways. This could also be about you completely changing destinations, relocating, living in an entirely different country or city. And just to sort of bring it back a little bit to more recent, Mars is there in Aquarius and Pluto is right on it right now. So what we're seeing here is some kind of renewal or transformation to do with, hey, this could be your energy levels. This could be the ways in which you assert yourself. I think that you're going to shock yourself, surprise yourself in terms of how you defend your vision or in terms of how you stand up for what you believe to be right. The thing about Aquarius here, and perhaps this does apply to you because you're so Aquarian, Aquarius stays true to its convictions, whilst Aquarius can also be quite open-minded and open to change and things can happen unexpectedly. There is still this, you know what? No, I feel it in my bones. I feel it in my gut. Intuitively, it just seems right. So maybe coming into Aquarius season, right? Again, going back to how the sun will conjunct with Pluto, but also it will connect with Mars. We could see some significant renewal or a transitional period. And hey, because Mars rules your 11th house, maybe a lot of this stuff is about friendships. Maybe it's about groups or organizations or teams you're a part of. And maybe a part of it even is related to certain friendships or groups that you don't want to be a part of anymore, right? Maybe a part of it is like Pluto is forcing a change, okay? The thing about the transformation and the change and the renewal tied to Pluto is something also ends or transmutes or changes. It's like your friendships or your communities or teams changing, but you may walk away, distance yourself from certain groups or clubs or teams that you no longer align with. So there is that. But then let's also consider how Mars rules your sixth and Pluto rules your sixth. So I'm also picking up on here many themes to do with health, work, your day to day. So maybe what we could see is you entering a new job, a new occupation, or this could even be you wanting to reprioritize a few things when it comes to your daily practices, your rituals. I mean, Jupiter is in the sixth house for you in Scorpio. So you may find that when it comes to your daily routines, habits, and rituals, etc., that you can really focus on things and you also can go deep into things. And you can bring your investigative sort of skills and insights to any workplace you're a part of. Maybe the work that you do actually involves a lot of investigation, working with high amounts of data and having to do a lot of research and connecting the dots, things like that. Maybe a lot of private information as well. So basically, all of this is to say that we could see then the significant changes to do with how you show up within these areas. Okay, other transits to consider then. Yeah, I just think Aquarius season especially is going to be very big because the sun is going to transit through the ninth. Of course, your solar return is coming up. And then also Mercury is going to transit through your ninth. So what can we say about Mercury? Mercury is so much about how we think, how we communicate, but hey, it's also about how we process information, how we sort of take in information and connect the dots. And so it's sort of like how we arrive to conclusions, right? So we could see this as when we think about how Mercury rules your first house and your fourth house, maybe we could see you transforming in some way, shape, or form to do with family, family conversations, family relationships. Because Chiron is in your fourth, there could be some things that are said that are quite triggering. Maybe even with Mercury right now in your eighth house, a lot of stuff to do with the past is coming up to the surface slightly. And perhaps such things are tied to authority or responsibility or strict, strict guidance. And you're having to sort of address those painful moments, right? And also, let's think about, oh, my computer. Let's also think about how Pluto itself does make a square to Mercury in your chart, and Mercury is your chart ruler. Okay. There is something here about your mind that can fixate and can maybe go to extremes, especially because these are two fixed signs. You may really fixate on what people say, and maybe you hold people accountable based on what they say and their promises and commitments and things like that. But I think a lot of this stuff, especially as time moves on over the next couple of weeks and Mercury starts to come up to where the midheaven is. Okay, so in the next few weeks or so, there's something coming to head here to do with coworkers, to do with employers, people's opinions or judgments about what you do for work, maybe. Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a conflict. And so maybe things could really come to a head, so to speak. But I think what's important to keep in mind is with you being this Aquarian, right, with your sun there, all of these Aquarian planets, a big part of Aquarius season for you will be about naturally liberating yourself to some extent. Maybe, hey, you come to this breaking point. This could be it. Honestly, you could be coming to this breaking point where it's like, I'm done with this job. I'm done. I don't agree with the methods. I don't agree with the unfairness, the injustice. I'm just so over it, and I don't want to have to work for these people. Yeah, we could see this come up for you. And I also sort of see this already being ushered in slightly because of that opposition between Mars retrograde and Uranus. It's this rebellion, right? And that's the thing too about Aquarius season is it's a season of rebellion. Mix that in a little bit with your moon in Libra, and don't get it twisted. Like moon in Libra can reach a point where you're like, I'm done with trying to keep the peace, or I'm done with trying to agree with people. Actually, This is so unfair. The balance is off. I need to go my own way. And so maybe there is something about that will come through, especially when we think about the moon in the fifth house, and the fifth house is about individuality. Okay, thank you so much, Holly. And I hope that was good. I hope you find it to be helpful. Okay. So, let's see. And okay. Yes, right. Shay, let's have a look. I'm just saying as well, everyone, that these are more to the point, quick fire readings. And if you would like to book a reading with me, you can go to hannahselsewhere.com. All right, so moving on to Shay. Thank you so much, Holly. And happy birthday. Happy birthday to Rain as well. Okay, let's see. Okay, got you. Right, double checking. All right. So progressions. Let's have a look. Okay. Oh, interesting. Thank you so much, Holly. All the best to you as well. All right, Shay, let's have a look at your chart. Ba-dum, ba-dum. All right. Okay. So you want to know about this progressed chart. We want to think about the midheaven at 29 degrees. So what can that suggest? What can that suggest? Well, I'm just going to actually look at some timing techniques here. Dun, 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 dun. 81. Okay. All right. Well. All right. What I'm seeing here, firstly, Shay, is that with the 29th degree of the midheaven, right? 29 degrees is known as an anaretic degree. And it's a degree of things coming to completion in a way. It's a degree where we can sort of take a moment, take some time to reflect upon what we've been. And there can also be what feels like, what's next? There can be apprehension. We can feel nervous because we can feel the push. And maybe this is what you're picking up on a little bit, is you can feel a calling, you can feel a push regarding purpose, your life's work. This could also be maybe about a new career path, for instance, with the midheaven involved. But whatever the case, this is about the person that you're striving to become. It's so much about your dedication. So with the secondary progressed midheaven being in Capricorn for so many years of your life, especially because the sun is there, Venus is there, I see this as you giving so much of your time, so much of your resources and your energy to that of maybe a cause. This could be an organization you've been a part of, maybe, for example, working for the government or working within a pretty responsible role, or a role that expected a lot from you. Could even be just taking on a responsibility role in some way, shape, or form, right? Mix that in a little bit with the moon in Cancer. And so there is this nurturing quality, this caregiving quality to what I'm saying. Maybe taking on like a parental role, for instance, too. So we arrive to this point. And with the secondary progressed midheaven being sextile, so it's sextile. It's actually creating a sextile to your natal Uranus. That's an interesting. That's interesting to think about, because Uranus is this awakener. Uranus revolutionizes things and changes things. There can be the unexpected, and especially with Uranus in your ninth, there could be twists and turns, unexpected events to do with your very beliefs, how you see the world, your worldviews. So I'm picking up on here you being on the cusp, so to speak, of this new world view. And I think a big part of that new world view is going to be about diving into your unconscious, trying to maybe explore why you do the things you do more heavily or deeply. Or it could be an opportunity for you to connect with your inner rebel, because the midheaven will enter into Aquarius. And so what I'm getting from this is this striving, this pushing for freedom. And that's a very interesting move, because with so many years of this Capricorn influence, Capricorn is well, I kind of think of Capricorn as being quite solid, right? Very solid and responsible, and needs to keep themselves nice and straight and follow the rules, right? But you see, Aquarius sort of throws a spanner in the works, and you do have parts of Aquarius in you, of course, you do, right? You think like an Aquarian in that you can be quite quirky and eccentric, and you also move like an Aquarian, I think, with your Mars in Aquarius, right? Your actions and things like that show up in this more sort of obscure or somewhat unusual way, where maybe people question you like, why did you do that? But it's you, it's different, right? But I think the secondary progressed midheaven it's more so about aligning with these parts of yourself, right? These Aquarian parts, where you're able to say, you know what, I spent so much of my life trying to strive for this thing and that thing and success and status and reputation, and I thought I wanted that, and you may go over all of the plans and all of the things that you work towards, and you can look back and you can reflect on the past and go, oh yeah, I'm really glad that I took that opportunity, or I'm really proud of myself. I recognize myself. But Aquarius, I think, in many ways, asks you to let your freak flag fly, to let your freak flag fly. By embracing perhaps this new version of yourself. Think even about how Pluto right now has came into your 12th. The midheaven, the secondary progressive midheaven, will align with Pluto. And so it's a transformation that happens, but it doesn't have to be shared with the world. That's what I'm getting from this. It doesn't have to be shown on this public stage or sort of presented even professionally. Maybe a part of this is more so about inner exploration. But then again, hey, you know what? If we do think of it more practically or professionally, this could be where you decide to take on more of a wanting to help other people role, giving back to your community, maybe helping the sick, helping the vulnerable. And I'm also going to say this, Shay, is Uranus is the transit Uranus is going to move closer to the final degree of Taurus, because Uranus is going to enter Gemini July of 2025, just for a couple of months. But what does this mean? This means that you are approaching your Uranus opposition. And it's kind of a special event because it only happens once in our lifetime. So the Uranus opposition could feel like a wake-up call. It could feel like a completely new way of seeing yourself, seeing the world, speaking to yourself as well. And this is how you speak to yourself. And your views could just completely change. And that's enough to maybe enlighten you or awaken you to a different reality, so to speak. And I don't even think, with Uranus, it's not, I think it's important to not resist the change, basically. And I think also a part of the change that's going to be ushered in with Uranus entering your 4th for a couple of months throughout 2025, of course, this is going to be a taster. A part of the change, a part of the revolution, so to speak, the rebellion, so to speak, is going to be about family. It's going to be maybe about healthy detachment from family, or it's going to be about independence related to family, or it's going to be more so about freedom and freedom of speech, freedom of thought when it comes to how you communicate with family. There could be something about relocating. There could be something about moving to a completely different country or city, etc. But the last thing I'm going to say about this is, do you know what this is going to do for you? I think it's going to speak to something deeper, because Uranus rules your 12th. So it's going to be a bit of a therapeutic healing journey. Not to say it's going to be all fine and dandy and easy, right? Could be, for example, with Uranus, especially in Scorpio, opposite, right? It could be where a part of this next chapter you're about to embark on, it could feel a bit like, uncomfortable. It can feel uncomfortable. It can feel like there's a part of you that is resistant to that growth. But I still see growth anyway. I still see these changes up ahead for you. So, Shay, thank you so much. That's yours. Thank you so, so much. Okay, let's see. Let's see. We now have, okay, let me see. All right, so Myra, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you, Myra. And Dylan, I think I remember someone in the audience. Let me look at the chat. Hello to Little Sleepy. And Shay, I hope you benefited from your reading. Let me see. Let Let me see. Yes, Lori. Lori. All right. Did you say anything else up here? All right, Lori, no problem. I am going to now enter your information. And hello to Devin. Shay, awesome. Awesome. So, Lori. Shay, happy birthday for tomorrow. Happy birthday. I hope you have the best day tomorrow. Celebrate yourself. Okay. All right, Lori, you're moving to London from Seattle for school. Okay. Let's have a look. I have a question. For you, Lori. Do you know the day you start? And Devin, you say you've got Gemini rising as well. So many Gemini risings. "29th of September." Okay, let me have a look. Ooh, let's see. Right. Go here. Mm. 29th. Okay. So 29th of September, 2025, London. And I'm going to put the time as 9 a.m. because that's usually what time schools would start at, right? About 9, something like that. But let's look at the astrology anyway at the time. Okay, September 29, 2025. And okay. We have that. Great. And then grab astrocartography. London. Let's see. Just getting everything I need for your reading. Saturn, descendant. Saturn descendant. Okay. And then if I grab this chart, image. Okay, so the chart you see before you, Lori, is your chart, but I am looking at other charts as I explore. I'm going to try my very best to break this down for you. Okay, well, Saturn. Radio. Yep. Right. So this question, let me just read through your question once more. Confirmation on how it may play out. First thing I want to say is when we explore your astrocartography chart, when we look at the travel map, it is the Saturn descendant line that runs through London. It runs through the UK for you. And when we look to Saturn in your natal chart, Saturn is in the 10th house. Saturn lines, when we explore astrocartography, can be about responsibility, structure. We may also find that within that destination, within that location, there is some growing to do. There can be some challenges in that maybe your commitment will be challenged slightly. Maybe it could take you a bit of some time to adjust, right? That's a possibility, trying to adjust to things, to a new way of life, a whole new experience for you. But the thing about it is because Saturn is in your 10th, and it's in Aquarius, I can't help but think that sure, okay, we could look at this as feeling a bit out of place, right? And honestly, that makes sense. To relocate to any new country or destination and to join a new school and everything, that can be kind of daunting. But with Saturn in Aquarius, there can be this feeling a bit like an outcast or feeling like an outsider or finding it difficult to maybe join in slightly because it's like, oh, I feel a bit unusual. I feel a bit maybe weird or uncomfortable here. But like I'm trying to say here, because Saturn is in the 10th, I think this is where we're going to see you grow so much, right? This is where we could possibly see you actually thrive in a lot of ways. Sure, yes, it could be where it feels like you're being tested. It feels like you hit certain walls, especially when it comes to maybe communicating with people or trying to find people to connect with, relate with, all of that stuff to do with Aquarius. But I can't help but think that by you being consistent or by you overcoming certain hurdles and just being patient with yourself, and maybe as well asking for help, right? Asking for help maybe from professors, professionals, maybe even being able to communicate with your parents and things like that. And people, friends, even from home and with that support system, things like that. I do think we could see you gradually just sort of find your fate, right? And that's the thing, I suppose, about any new significant experience is that it can take time. It can really take time to see maybe significant results and change. But I just think that this chapter for you, it's somehow tied in with your profession. Maybe it is that you'll sort of qualifying professionally. And with all of your Aquarius in the 10th, a lot of this is about career. It's maybe about making a difference within the world. It's about innovation, or maybe it's about giving back to people or being very charitable, humanitarian with Aquarius. Maybe it's about technology, working with computers or coding, things like that. Yeah, heavily about technology and media, perhaps. Even just think about the world as it is now, and that makes total sense because everything is becoming more digitalized, right? So yeah, we could just see interesting developments there, but also this stuff can maybe be scientific, right? Maybe this is about medicine in some way, shape, or form, science in some way, shape, or form. Okay, but let's then explore more. And I pulled up a chart. So it's known as an event chart. And I know that you can't exactly give me the exact time that you're going to start on the day, but we can look at the astrology of the day. So what we notice is that whenever you do start school in London, and I've put in London in the dates as well, the sun will be in Libra and Mercury will also be in Libra. So that I feel can be quite positive for communicating and relating to other people, being quite liked, engaging. Even the sun will make a bit of a trine to your natal sun. So we could see this as you shining, as you radiating, so to speak, or feeling a bit like, hey, you know what? Yeah, people are really nice here. People are friendly here. They're very welcoming to me. But equally, we can look at it as you putting your best foot forward as a way to communicate, right? Even Mercury in Libra will make a trine to your natal Mercury. So great. Communication wise, we could see greater ease, which is lovely. And here's the other thing, which I think is very interesting, is that Moon will be in Sagittarius on the day. Now, it will be at a later degree of Sagittarius. Maybe this also depends on when you start on the day, but still, it will spend some time in Sag. Sagittarius is about travel. It's about broadening our horizons. So the moon there could be where you feel inspired, you feel excited, about this next chapter, and maybe as well, this is where we're going to see greater optimism on your part. And the thing about it too is that the moon will be in your 8th house at the time. So when we think about it this way, this is such a transformational experience for you. It's going to transform you. It's going to completely change the way you see yourself, the way you view the world because of those experiences. But then also your North Node is in Sagittarius. So the North Node in Sagittarius is sort of saying, hey, come over this way. Be okay with broadening your worldview, trying different cultures and experiences and ways of life, because these things are going to transform you. So that I feel is very, very interesting. Even the North Node is conjunct Pluto in your chart. And so we're going to see how you're going to learn so much about yourself through those one-to-one relationships, because Pluto is in the 7th. And sure, okay, with Pluto in the 7th, it could be a suggestion where it's like, power struggles, especially with Pluto making a square to Saturn in the chart, power struggles with other people. But I just want to say, even through our power struggles and our tensions and our challenging conversations with people where it's like, that person doesn't like me, or they said this and that, and they weren't very trustworthy, we still learn. And maybe this is the beauty about it in a way, because Jupiter is about learning. Jupiter is about trying to assess our experiences and go, hey, yeah, you know what? I learned from that. So Jupiter is in Scorpio in your 7th. And so indeed, I just think that you are going to change in many ways when it comes to relating to other people. And you may surprise yourself by just how resilient you're going to be when it comes to this whole experience. You could even meet ride or die friends. You could even meet a partner or someone who you end up marrying, right? Or hey, I can't remember. Did you say that you are married? I can't remember from your messages there. But no, we still see something about relationships, basically, right? Relationships could change. And in this, we could see relationships developing where there's greater commitment. There's emotional bonding, things like that. Even think about how Mars, I'm just going to say this lastly, Mars will be in Scorpio when you start. And Mars then will be in your 7th. And that is quite it's an attractive planet, right? Because maybe it's sort of like, there could be people there. There could be people you're interested in. And it could be friendship-wise. It could be relationship-wise. But there's just something here about how your relationships are going to trigger something pretty profound, possibly very desirable within you. Yes. Oh, sorry. One more thing. Venus will be in your 5th because Venus will be in Virgo. So, hey, we could see this as wanting to play, have fun, join in with people. Hopefully, though, with Venus being in Virgo, you don't go into yourself too much, or you don't shy away too much. Maybe that could be a slight challenge, and that's completely normal. Honestly, it's completely normal to feel that way. But still, hopefully we can look at it as you maybe being able to figure out the kinds of people you want to connect with in some way, and just being open to new possibilities overall, relationship-wise. Very, very interesting, Lori. Oh, okay. So not married and you've never been in a relationship before. Very, very interesting. Yeah, thank you very much for booking, Lori, and I'm very excited for you, honestly. I mean, it sounds amazing. All the best to you. Okay, let's have a look. Right. Ba-da-bum. Right, so we have Myra. I hope you said I pronounced it correctly the first time, and I hope that I said this the same. Myra, yes. And then we also have Tanya. Thank you so much. Right, so Myra, I'm going to enter in all of your information. And happy birthday to you, Lori. Myra. If you are still there, by the way, Lori, just quickly, because Saturn is on the descendant line, because it's the descendant and the descendant is about relationships and committed partnerships, this whole new experience for you could very well invite a committed relationship, right? A committed relationship. Interesting. Right. So, Myra, let's see. You want to know about partners, family? All right. 5. Double checking. Got it. I just need to get a few timing techniques. So just bear with me, please. Thank you so much, Lori. Thank you for sharing as well. And Tanya, yes, so you are going to be after Myra. All right, let's have a look. And I just need to see annual profections. Right. That is, all right, the 5th house. Interesting. Okay, so Myra, you want to know about relationships, and you have recently turned 40, right? You turned 40 December time. And so this means that the 5th house is going to be activated for you throughout your 40th. I was going to say year, but I suppose technically your 41st year. But anyway, throughout the year. And with Pluto and Saturn being in Scorpio in your 5th house, well, we could look at this as you possibly getting into an intimate relationship this year. You may be meeting someone new and it does indeed transform your life. So there is that. But we also we want to think more about this, don't we? Because one, Saturn is in Scorpio in your 5th, and also we want to explore what Mars is doing throughout the year, and we want to explore what Pluto is doing slightly too. So let's firstly think about how Saturn is in your 5th and what this can be an indicator of when it comes to maybe romance and love and dating is that I'm picking up on here how you can be quite serious quite fast, or it's that you really take your time getting to know the other person on an intimate level, and maybe essentially this is what you crave. You really crave honesty, commitment, integrity, someone who can take responsibility of their stuff. And I'm going to say this too. You have perhaps been in certain committed relationships. Maybe you have actually been married before, right? Because with Jupiter in the 7th, but maybe you've been in relationships and you've had to think to yourself, no, I am just not putting up with that. I am over that. That is too erratic for me. It's too confusing for me, especially because we notice that Saturn is making a bit of a square to Mars in the 8th house. So we could look at this as power struggles when it comes to these intimate connections. We could even look at this slightly as deception or deceit, people hiding things from you, secrecy, right? Things like that. We could also look at this as emotionally unavailable partners too, even though you may really crave that intimate connection and that vulnerability. But then again, we could even look at this slightly as you, to some degree, struggling to kind of be vulnerable, to be open, maybe partly because there's something about your own past, there's something about your own upbringing that can bring all these emotions to the surface. And I'm saying this because Venus is making an opposition to the moon in Leo. And what this can then indicate is that it's your emotions that get stirred up. It's something about your unconscious, your emotional desires, things like that that come up, especially whenever you're triggered or whenever you feel like you're being tested in some way, shape, or form. So all of this is to say that you may be at a stage in your life where you've seen it all before and you know yourself so much more in terms of, okay, this is my security, this is my boundary, this is the line, and you're not going to cross it. But I also think that it's interesting. It is interesting because I think that with the South Node being in Scorpio too, what you're sort of having to address in this life, so to speak, is times whenever you lean too much towards this, what feels like a fixation or like a this strong grip that you need to have maybe when it comes to love. I'm getting this deep craving, this deep desire, this deep longing to be loved and to be needed and to be cherished. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's, it's more that I think the North Node in Taurus is trying to teach you something about trying to more so direct your path towards more of a calming state. What I'm actually picking up on here a little bit for you, Myra, is there's something about the nervous system. There's something about what you're used to, and you keeping within a certain cycle or a rhythm or a pattern. And maybe a part of it is about connection. It is about intimacy. So it's interesting because Uranus is opposite Saturn for you right now. And there have been, I feel like, these huge awakening moments, these huge enlightening moments. Maybe you've actually sorted things out for yourself to a large extent, and now you feel ready. You're like, yeah, you know what? I've addressed all the unconscious things, Hannah. I've looked at myself. I've looked at my past relationships. I can see the intensities. I can see the maybe controlling tendencies and things like that, fixation. And actually, I feel a lot more liberated today. I feel a lot more free today. And that's awesome, you know? So this is where we want to think about, what is Mars doing? What is Pluto doing? They're opposing each other right now. Okay, they're opposing each other. Pluto right now is on your Venus, your natal Venus, and is trying to kind of bring something up to you about connection, about love, about relationships. There's something that's trying to kind of push through, but I think Aquarius season especially is going to be where things erupt. And it's not necessarily going to be visible, right, where other people see. I think you're about to approach this opening moment, you know, this moment of, oh, wow, how did I not see it that way? And so this is going to be, what you're coming up to is a big opportunity for emotional transformation, psychological growth, psychological transformation. And this stuff will also be so emotional and eternal and linked to your inner child with the moon in Leo. It's going to be a very sensitive time related to the heart, maybe thinking about how you might, in some way, maybe in an unconscious way, shield yourself, protect your heart, keep certain things away, maybe because it's like a trigger, or it's like you're being reminded of the past. Mars retrograde right now for you in Cancer. What's happening there is things are being cleaned up. You're having an opportunity to look at the past, to look at these previous romantic relationships, and maybe in some way you can do that slightly from an objective place at the same time, where it's like, right, okay, I just need to be truthful with myself, honest with myself, cry a little bit, dwell a little bit, sulk a little bit, but also, you know what, I can come out of that. And so what I'm getting from this overall is, use this opposition over the next while. Right, of course, Mars is moving away a little bit from Pluto. I get that. But Mars, of course, will come back around, I think it's April, May time, something like that. April, May time. Mars will trigger that Pluto again, Venus again, your moon again. But basically, what I'm trying to say here is, use the next couple of months, the next while, just to clean things up. And what I mean by this is, get focused, get maybe up to speed about the things that you crave, about what you need. This is it. It's about needs. It's about your emotional needs, your emotional attachments. This is a new chapter because Mars is transiting the first. The first house is about new beginnings. This is a new chapter to do with romance and love for you when we connect this in with the fifth house this year. So use this time just to go within, to really reflect, to maybe even look after your body in many ways, your health, let things out. Emotional, it's such an emotionally healing, cleansing time, I think. And then what's going to happen is, throughout the year, Mars is going to come into the second, and eventually, more so towards the end of the year, Mars is going to connect in with Pluto. That could be when there is this big renewal or a significant shift to do with romance and love for you. But I just want to say there is a T-square influence happening in this chart between the fixed signs. So maybe there is a part of this. I'm trying to just address a challenge for you. So hopefully you can work with this. But this is about hopefully being able to address your own stubbornness, your own frustrations where you're like, I'm not ready to face that. I'm not ready to change that. I think in many ways, especially with Pluto connecting with Venus, and then Mars will come around to Pluto, and we're talking again throughout 2025. I think this is about you facing something challenging within yourself that limits you or keeps you from being intimate or from getting close. Okay, 2 seconds. I need to cough. And Myra, thank you so much. 2 seconds. I need to cough. Oh, I do apologize. That cough completely took over. I wasn't well the past like a week ago, and I thought I was completely over it, but anyway. Okay, so Myra, thank you so much, Myra, and I hope that you found your reading to be helpful there, and I do apologize for my coughing fit. The joys of live readings. Okay. Tanya. Okay. Oh, 9. Okay. Right, so New York. Which, let me see. Oh, that's great, I think. Yeah, go with that one. Okay, great. Okay. Okay. Hi, Rachel. Welcome. And hello to Peaceful Aura. Okay, let's see. Tanya. Right. So your question is about 2025. Let's see. I just need to mute myself for a second. And Peaceful Aura, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's a pretty tense time for many people with this Mars retrograde, Pluto involved in it. I can identify common sort of themes and patterns you mentioned there within my own life. Yeah. But yeah, so I'm going to. Let's then explore your chart, Tanya, and think about certain transits for you. Well, let's consider firstly how Uranus is going to move closer and closer to your midheaven. So it's going to be more strongly felt around about June time because Uranus will enter Gemini July time for a couple of months. So the midheaven is this point, this highest point within the chart, where it can really be about your public image, your persona, your reputation, your career, your profession. And so, with your midheaven being in Taurus, maybe it's that your life's work or your purpose is strongly linked to stability, security. Even the moon is there, right? So, this stuff is very much tied to your emotional needs. So, Uranus, of course, Uranus also connecting in with the moon slightly was more stronger a good while ago, but we're noticing then these significant internal transformation, changes to do with your emotions and to do with your stability and your security. Things may be happening unexpectedly. Maybe we're looking at greater inconsistency, unreliability. We're also seeing here this challenge, this restriction, because Saturn is actually in Aquarius. Saturn is in the 6th house. And so there is a bit of a square happening here. So we could look at this as some restriction or restraint to do with your everyday, to do with work. Maybe unexpected changes have happened, and maybe because of that, your worldviews have changed. Maybe something you thought you wanted to do isn't the case anymore. So we could look at this as possibly you breaking free from a certain occupation or a role or a way of thinking within a role. But whatever the case, we are noticing that over the past 7 years or so, your worldviews have changed substantially, right? With Uranus transiting your 9th. And Uranus then will enter into your 10th. So July time of 2025, for just a few months, we're going to get the beginning stages to do with a possible, could be a complete career change. It could be that your views about career changes. It could be that you take on another job, right? Because Gemini is about duality, right? It's two or more. So we could look at this as you deciding to maybe take on a different role. Maybe a part of it is, okay, you want to be a bit more creative during your evening hours, but then within another job, you want to be a bit more professional. But the other thing about it too is Jupiter has already been transiting your 10th house since May of 2024. So we are seeing here you perhaps gaining more popularity, could be when it comes to online, social media stuff, could be also greater recognition in some way, shape, or form for how you communicate, how you teach. We think about even how your profession, your career, your public image sort of takes on this versatility, this variety, um, this curiosity. So Jupiter could very well indicate you taking on new opportunities, expanding in some way, shape, or form. Naturally, Jupiter is retrograde right now, and this has been an opportunity for you the past while just to step back a bit and to maybe reevaluate where you're at professionally, what you want professionally, what is the next step for you. A lot of thinking about the next step. And you mix that in with how Jupiter is making a square to Saturn in the 7th for you. This, I feel, is about clients, customers, business deals, contracts, agreements. You're sort of at this point of, okay, where do I go from here? And maybe as a part of you is trying to sort of strive for growth to do with your public image or to do with your professional life, there's this other part that is feeling a bit restricted or held back when it comes to maybe more of those one-to-one connections. So here's the thing. What we notice then is that Jupiter will turn direct February time and things are going to start to move. Saturn, I'm pretty sure Saturn does take the lead on this, but we are going to see then less pressure, I think, because Saturn's going to enter into your 8th around May time for a few months. So less pressure maybe when it comes to any restrictions or blockages with relation to customers or clients or business partnerships, right? So things could very well ease. Let's just put it that way. And simultaneously, as the North Node is traveling through your 7th over the next year here, Tanya, hey, we could actually see you meeting maybe like it feels like destiny. You know, these destined relationships happen, especially because your chart ruler, which is Mercury, it's there, it's in Pisces, and the North Node is not too far away from it. So over the next coming months or so, I I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if you met someone who completely changes your life, right? This could be connected to an employer, a business partner. This could be some contract, an agreement that is signed. Very, very fascinating. Somehow tied to your identity, tied to a new chapter for you. Even with the nodes being in your 1st and 7th houses, and then eclipses happening in these houses for you over the next year, over the next 18 months, even. Well, you're in for major identity changes, major identity shakeups. Certain things maybe about your identity that you're going to walk away from, that you're done with. Could also be about embarking on a whole new journey when it comes to relationships and partnerships. Okay, let me think about if there's any other sort of transits I want to mention. Okay. Well, Neptune also is there in the 7th. So Neptune in your 7th since 2011 has been creating this sort of fog, this haze when it comes to relationships, maybe not seeing things very clearly, being a bit idealistic. But Saturn coming along here, I think has been creating some sort of realism, caution, and seeing maybe what isn't working. Where is the lie, so to speak? What are you not maybe being honest with yourself about? But also, what about honesty and integrity and responsibility when it comes to other people in your life? Maybe this has been quite a time of making serious decisions in your life when it comes to relationships and partnerships overall. Consider this too. There is this Venus-Saturn conjunction. I think the same degree happens either on the 18th or 19th of January. And that's going to usher in a new year cycle to do with your relationships, right? So this could be about commitment. It could be about integrity. It could be about your own boundaries and limitations when it comes to relationships. Maybe this is somehow tied in with work, management. Maybe it's also strongly linked to love and romance, right? And I'm saying these things because Saturn, of course, rules your 6th and 5th houses. Okay, what else? Let me see. Okay, Chiron is currently on your natal Venus, and this here could feel quite triggering, honestly. And I'm gonna maybe finish off by looking at this part of the chart. Of course, we can't touch on every single thing. We only have so much time. But Venus is making a trine to the North Node in Sagittarius, the same degree actually. So a big part of the North Node in Sagittarius in your fourth for you is about, okay, it's you following this path of, okay, what is it that I want when it comes to family and home? How can I feel more free, right? You want to roam free. You want to feel like, do you know what? Yes, I have these aspirations. These are strong desires of mine when it comes to my emotional needs, basically, when it comes to looking after myself. So there is this, I'm going to run away. I'm going to go after all of my family goals, my living situation goals. Then you mix in a bit of Venus with that, with the trine. Maybe a big part of this is Venus is speaking to your passion. Venus is speaking to just how deeply you feel, how intensely you feel about your desires, about your goals, but also about people. About people. Thinking about intimacy here with the eighth house, trust. I'm seeing here with Chiron so close to your natal Venus, and this is just intuitively in a way, but I'm seeing here possibly someone either breaking your trust, breaking your heart, someone maybe letting you down or going against your best wishes. And so maybe a part of that trigger, so to speak, that wound, so to speak, with Chiron, it's almost trying to tell you something about any unfulfillment or unmet needs. And maybe this is also partly why you are perhaps feeling the stronger calling, the stronger push to move away. It could be that you're feeling the stronger calling to relocate, to escape a situation. It could be a relationship situation, an intimacy situation. It could be debt, right? Having to pay off a debt or a loan, or not having to be in debt to somebody else, that kind of thing. Yeah, and I'm going to finish off by saying with the North Node in the fourth, this also means the South Node is in the 10th. So I can't help but think that a big part of the opportunities you're trying to take on with relation to your career and your profession, I think a part of it is trying to teach you something about what you're trying to actually move away from, what you're done with. Yeah, maybe a part of this is recognizing how you might be spreading yourself too wide with Jupiter involved, how you might be overdoing it in some way, overextending yourself in some way. And hey, on a positive note, with Saturn involved in that square, Saturn could also act as more of an anchor, a support, as more of a, hey, be careful, don't go too overboard there, bringing you back down to earth slightly. Yeah, so there is that. And that sort of bringing you back down to earth quality could be coming from someone that you love, someone that you care about. Okay. Tanya. Okay. Let's see. I think I'm going to stop it here then, everybody. Oh, interesting, Tanya. And yes, Virgo rising over here. But I think, yeah, I'm going to stop it here. Let me just edit the title and then I'll get going. Thank you, everyone who booked this evening. And would you like me to come back tomorrow? Would anybody like that? Or I can just leave it. I think 2 hours, about 2 hours is a good time. Let's see, I'm just editing my title. we go. Oh, are you going to, so basically the payment link, do you want me to put the payment link back up, Peaceful Aura? Oh, Sarkassian, thank you so much for joining. And yes, if you come back tomorrow, no problem at all. Thank you for being here. And yes, Peaceful Aura, if I do put the link back up, would you like to book? We can also leave it till tomorrow. Thank you so much, Laurie. All the best to you. Yeah, because I already removed the payment link. But like I say, I can always come back tomorrow. Okay. I'm just gonna go then, because I didn't hear anything from you, Peaceful Aura, but that's completely fine. As I say, I will be back tomorrow, and then I will post that stream. And to everybody that booked this evening, thank you all so much. And many of you are, of course, Aquarians, and of course, still there was one of you, Capricorn. So happy birthday to all of you. I hope you have the best birthday. And as I say, yes, stay tuned. Maybe you'll see me tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Have a good Friday. Oh, I forget how to get out of here. How do I get out of here? Oh, bye.